A massive fire ignited at the base of SpaceX's Starship rocket's Super Heavy booster, engulfing it in flames. The incident occurred on July 12 at SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas. During a static fire test, Elon Musk responded to the incident by saying that it was actually not good and that the team is assessing the damage. In this video, we'll take a look at why the SpaceX Starship Super Heavy booster has fire issues. The Booster 7, which was recently outfitted with 33 new Raptor 2 engines, was engulfed in a thick cloud of smoke followed by an explosion, according to a video shared by NASA Spaceflight's Chris Bergen. A few hours later, Bergen revealed that the fire had been safely extinguished and that preparations for testing Ship 24 would continue. The Ship 24 is the upper stage that, when combined with the Booster 7, forms the 120-meter-tall Starship rocket. Musk stated that the anomaly was specific to the engine spin start test, a relatively complex process with the Raptor engines. He also stated that engineers would have more information about the anomaly later in the day and confirmed that the booster's base is fine. According to Musk, the cryogenic fuel being used as a propellant for the booster is an added challenge because it evaporates to create fuel air explosion risk in a partially oxygen atmosphere like Earth. Furthermore, Musk stated that in order to avoid a repeat of this incident, his team would not conduct the spin test with all 33 engines at the same time. SpaceX is preparing for Starship's first orbital launch, which would advance the company's goal of transporting humans and cargo to the Moon and eventually Mars. Musk stated last month that Starship would be ready for its orbital mission this month and that the mega rocket would be launched on a monthly basis after August. The complexity of the Raptor engines has been a major puzzle for SpaceX engineers. Musk previously revealed that his team had to invent alloys in order for the engine to function. However, these engines, which are designed to generate 230 tons of force during launch, would lift the most powerful rocket ever built. SpaceX has returned the same Super Heavy booster prototype to its South Texas Starship factory for the 6th time this year after completing several tests. It's unclear why. Super Heavy Booster 7 first left the factory in March 2022 and has been stuck in a seemingly never-ending cycle of testing and retesting ever since. While the pace of testing and progress was more aggressive from 2019 to mid-2021, SpaceX cannot be accused of slacking off in 2022. Between early April and late November, Booster 7 alone completed over 24 different tests. However, unlike in the first 3 or so years of steel Starship development, Elon Musk has stopped being the consistent source of information on the purpose and results of many of those tests, even as NASA has begun to funnel hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars into the Starship program. Except for tidbits from SpaceX, Musk, and NASA, as well as deep, unofficial analyses of public data, the day-to-day or week-to-week status of Starship has largely been left to speculation. That information void has only grown larger in recent months. On October 31st, a senior NASA official provided perhaps the most important near-term update this year. Mark Kurasik, Deputy Associate Administrator for Artemis Campaign Development, provided a surprising amount of detail about SpaceX's near-term plans in an advisory briefing, even reporting that Starship's first orbital test flight could take place as early as December 2022, pending several critical tests. However, more than 5 weeks later, SpaceX appears to have made only minor progress toward those goals and has yet to attempt the 2 most important tests. Nonetheless, some progress has been made, albeit indeterminate in the absence of official information. SpaceX was in the midst of a relatively minor series of cautious propellant loading tests with Booster 7 and Ship 24, which were stacked on October 20th. At the time of Kurasik's briefing, Ship 24 was removed after 3 more partial full-stack tests in the first 7 days of November. Aside from the obvious steps taken by SpaceX, little is known about the results of those propellant loading tests. The fate of Ship 24 is unknown, but Super Heavy B7 appeared to have passed full-stack testing in excellent condition. Booster 7 completed a record-breaking 14-engine static fire on November 14th, more than doubling its previous record of 7 engines, and likely becoming one of the most powerful rockets in history. Musk simply stated that the test went well. Poor weather undoubtedly played a role, but Booster 7's next test would be 15 days away. After an aborted test on November 28th, SpaceX followed Booster 7's record-breaking 14-engine static fire with a longer 13-second test of 11 Raptors on November 29. SpaceX loaded Booster 7 with approximately 2,800 tons of liquid oxygen propellant in less than 90 minutes before engine ignition, making it a partial wet dress rehearsal as well. Musk described it as a little more progress towards Mars. And SpaceX tweeted a photo of the static fire, but the results of the test, which was designed to test autogenous pressurization, remained mostly unknown. 2 of Booster 7's 33 Raptor engines were removed immediately after the long-duration test, adding to the uncertainty. Then, on December 2nd, Booster 7 was removed from Starbase's lone orbital launch mount and rolled back to the factory's high bay assembly facility. Previously, SpaceX only returned Booster 7 to the factory to repair damage or replace missing hardware. It's impossible to say why Booster 7 returned for the 6th time without official information. The most hopeful explanation is that SpaceX returned the Super Heavy booster to the factory to completely close out its engine section heat shield, which currently has 20 missing panels for each of its outer Raptor engines. However, there is a reason why those panels were never reinstalled. Any replacements would have to be modified so that the improvised system put in place to prevent the conditions that led to Booster 7's first explosion from recurring could still be used for future static fire tests. Even so, it's unclear why SpaceX would need to reinstall those panels for Booster 7's upcoming 33-engine static fire and full stack wet dress rehearsal when they weren't required for 11 and 14-engine static fires, as well as a dozen other fire-free tests. Depending on why Booster 7 is back at the factory, it could return to the launch site as soon as next week. If major work or repairs are required, it could take up to 6 weeks for SpaceX to return the rocket to the launch pad. Given that the full wet dress rehearsals and 1 or more 33-engine static fires that stand between Booster 7 and flight readiness will be riskier and more difficult than any other test the prototype has completed to date, there is no way Starship will be ready for its first orbital launch this year. In fact, without more specific information, particularly about Ship 24's mysterious state, it's difficult to pinpoint a viable date for Starship's orbital launch debut earlier than the first half of 2023. However, even if it means a significantly longer wait, SpaceX's recent decision to make Starbase move slower and break fewer things should result in a successful debut sometime next year. NASA has granted SpaceX a contract for a second manned Starship moon landing as early as 2027, nearly 8 months after announcing its purpose to do so. In addition to securing a ride to the lunar surface for NASA's Artemis IV mission astronauts, the Option B contract will allow SpaceX and NASA to pursue and demonstrate improvements that will make Starship an even more capable and cost-effective moonlander. Even when considering the vast list of accomplishments SpaceX has racked up over the last half-decade, 2022 has been a game-changing year by every metric. It owns and operates the world's largest satellite constellation by an order of magnitude. Its Starlink satellite internet service has amassed over 1 million subscribers in less than 2 years since it went into beta. It currently operates the only orbital-class rockets and spacecraft that are routinely reusable. Its workhorse Falcon 9 rocket has launched more rockets in a single year than any other single rocket in history. It is regularly launching at a rate that no single country, let alone a single company, has maintained in the last 40 years. It maintains that near-historic cadence while recovering and reusing boosters and fairings that account for roughly 70% of the value of almost every rocket it launches. And now, SpaceX can boast that it was able to meet a launch cadence target that seemed impossible to achieve when Elon Musk first announced it 9 months ago. SpaceX has just completed its 60th launch of 2022. Exactly 9 months later. And with that being said, it's time to end our video. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you with another interesting video